Hola, Osla here from Simply Cuba Tours. As you can see, still from sunny Perth, which is why I'm wearing a woolly jumper because we have now hit winter and it's about 7 degrees outside, which is rather chilly. So I definitely have the heater on. And as you can see, I am slowly turning the office into a rainforest with all the plants around me just so I can feel like I am in the tropics of Cuba. What do I have for you today is a guide to birdwatching from Ioannis with his recommendations as to what you may want to purchase before you come and see the birds of Cuba. One of the points that we discussed with him is what does every birdwatcher need? The first thing that he's recommended is actually a book or two. It is a field guide of birds of Cuba. You can either get the one by Kirk Connell and Garrido, or there is another book which is called The Endemic Birds of Cuba by Navarro. The reason you want to invest in a book such as these is because whilst you're out in the field, although we will be working on capturing amazing pictures of these beautiful birds, you might also spot something and you want to be able to get some more information about them. You might want to be able to actually name it yourself because it is really exhilarating to go, oh my God, that is actually the Cuban toddy. Guess what? I read about it and here it is, and I am now looking at it in real life. What else will you need? Well, obviously you will need your camera and you will need some binoculars. Nothing too fancy. Too fancy also doesn't make it through quarantine. The rules are constantly changing, so around your photography gear and your binoculars, whilst we are trying to get confirmation as to what you require, it is also best to check with your embassy before traveling to make sure that the gear that you have can in fact make it into Cuba. If you travel with us, we obviously assist you with getting the relevant paperwork together to bring your gear into Cuba whilst on tour with us. You will also need some clothes. Now, Cuba is a tropical environment, so you want to have lightweight clothes. However, there are times where you're going out into areas where there is a lot of water, either in the form of rivers and waterholes, or even up in the air in the form of humidity, or obviously through rain, depending on the season that you're coming. So make sure that you have comfortable hiking boots, hiking clothes, sunscreen, shades, hat, lightweight clothes that dry quickly as well. But the best thing to have, due to having mosquitoes and sandflies and the like, is long sleeve and long pants if you are joining us for a bird watching tour. Obviously, also, you are going out into nature and you don't want to scare these beauties away. So just make sure that the material that you're wearing is not rustly, not something too bright that the birds will spot miles away and just flee. One of the other things, which actually I have to say really surprised me, was getting an app on your phone. The coverage, as I mentioned previously, for internet connection is not the best in Cuba. However, Ioannis actually said that the app works perfectly on your phone. So do make sure that you get a birding app. The one from eBird, he mentioned, works quite well and in real time. So make sure that you download that to your phone so you can use it while on tour. The other things that you can do once you start looking at areas where you want to be birding, whether it's in Cuba, whether it's in your own neighborhood, whether it's in another country, is join Facebook groups. Follow Facebook pages that provide information about relevant places that you're planning to visit, or birding groups where they're admiring birds from around the world, where you can actually discuss them, see your finding, ask questions, and see how and what you can learn from those groups yourself. The other things you can do is read blogs about the different areas that you're visiting, so you can actually prepare and have some idea as to what to expect from a location when you get there. You know, things like the weather, obviously the kind of birds you're going to find there, the birds that are unique for the area, endemic birds and such. And of course, connect with other birders. If you ever have any questions around birds, birding photography, just pop it onto our Facebook page. We're always very, very happy to answer. In fact, if anything, that gets Ioannis extremely excited. So please pop your questions on the Facebook page or send us a message and we'd be more than happy to answer them for you. Now, on that, if you're planning to go overseas, like coming to Cuba, obviously research the best time to go. So in our case, if you're joining our tour, we are not running birding tours between April and November for several reasons. One is that it is the wet season, it is humid, very humid. It is of course also meaning that there are days where it just rains for hours on end, so you actually don't get to go outside and see the birds, and it's also part of the nesting season. So if you're planning on coming to Cuba, do plan to be there in the window somewhere between November and April if birding is your main activity or birding photography is your main activity. Once you're on the ground, one of the best things you can do if you're overseas especially is hire a guide. The reason you hire a guide, especially in the case of Cuba, is because those guys, one, will know their area very, very well. So they will know how to spot the birds, where the birds are nesting, where you can find specific species, but also they can help you getting from point A to B in a perfect manner. They can arrange for your accommodation, they can help you with your meals. Basically, they can make your tour running extremely smoothly. So what else do you need to know? Well, basically, wherever you're going birding, the best thing that you must follow, or a thing that you must follow, I should say, is the rules. Obviously, things like no littering goes without saying, but things like no baiting, no bird callers, no touching nest, no taking or touching eggs, don't use flash on your camera, don't agitate the birds, put your phone on silent obviously when you're out and about, stay on the path and be mindful of your environment and also of others in your group when you're out and about is a must. So I really hope that you're loving our Birds of Cuba features on our feed. I really hope that you're getting inspired to check those beautiful creatures out and join us on our next tour. If you want to know more about it, visit our website for information on our 2022 itineraries. Have fun!